Hello from Cork.
Hello from New York.
Ismi Shema Shanaki Corky. It's Maria, the Cork-based storyteller.
It's me, Jim, here in Fayetteville, New York.
We can't wait to tell you a few stories.
All right, welcome everyone into a special edition of the podcast from Cork to New York. This is special in many different ways because, first of all, we're coming to you from the World Storytelling Cafe in Marrakech, Morocco. Second of all, we have the great joy of having the resident storyteller of that World Storytelling Cafe, Omar Belaarej, who is joining us for the episode. And what makes it special in a different way is that Maria is not here this time. We may have a guest or two join us besides Omar, but the two of us will start and we'll see how the episode goes. So Omar, just say a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It's such a great moment with you, Jim. We've had a great journey in a few days ago with Maria Gillan and Eugene Brulé and me, Omar Belaarej, for this historic bridge between Morocco, Ireland, and New York. So, my name is Omar Belaarej. I'm a resident storyteller from the World Storytelling Cafe, and I've been doing this for almost now 2 years ago. Now I'm doing storytelling as a resident storyteller for this cafe.
And I'll just mention, because I know it's going to happen from time to time, we are sitting next to one of the streets here in Marrakech.
Yeah.
You will get a flavor of what it's like to be in Marrakech from the sounds that you hear. So that's part of the joy of being here. Maybe I'll start with a story.
Perfect.
And we'll see where we go from there.
Yes, please.
This is a Jewish story, and one of the things, as I've mentioned sometimes before, is that if you want to know what Judaism says about something, be sure you ask more than one person. If you ask two people, you get three answers. And the more people you ask, the more answers you get. So some people, as they hear this story, said, gee, I didn't know that was a Jewish thing. And yeah, it is. You'll see what I mean. And this is a story about a Maggid. Now, a Maggid is the title of a Jewish spiritual storyteller. I happen to be a Maggid. And that's something that's conveyed by lineage. It's not something you study to be and get a certificate. You study and study and study with another Maggid until they say, yeah, you're good enough to be a Maggid now. And it might take a year or two, it might take longer. You never know. There's no guarantees. But this is a story about a Maggid who was just renowned throughout the region. Everybody loved the stories that he told, and he would always have lots of people come and listen. And he was reaching the end of his life. And he knew that he had one big story to tell. And he wanted to make sure that he had the chance to tell the whole story to as many people who wanted to tell it. Now, as storytellers, we're often told, can you tell a 3-minute story? Can you tell a 5-minute story? But this comes from a time when stories would last not just hours, but sometimes days. And this was that kind of Maggid. He would tell a story, go on for quite a while. So he came to his home community and said, this is going to be my last big storytelling. Would you make arrangements for people to come? And they have set up a huge place with big ceilings that went way up high, rafters in the ceilings, places for people to sit all around. The inns in the community made extra rooms so people could come and stay because they knew it was going to be a big thing. And finally the day came, and the Maggid walked into the center of this large, call it arena, and began his story, and everyone felt quiet. And they listened and they listened, and the story went up and down, and it wove itself around in every direction, and people just forgot about whether they would eat or sleep. They just wanted to listen to the story. No big surprise. It went for a very long time. And the longer it went, the more amazing it became. And it became such an amazing story that angels started to come. And they sat in the rafters of this building so they could hear the story too. It was just an amazing story. And it had been going on for several days when all of a sudden the angel of death appeared. And the angel of death, who likes to keep things to himself, that's his job, swooped down and took the Maggid's soul, and he took it to his castle, to his palace, as we say. And he said, I want this story for myself. You can just tell it to me. And the Maggid stopped speaking. And the angel of death said, no, you have to tell me your story. No, you don't want to, but you want to finish your story, you tell it for me. And the Maggid said the only thing he would say, which is, I'm not telling you my story. And the angel of death said, I have been around for a very long time. I can wait longer than you can wait. I will wait for you to tell the story. But the Maggid stayed silent. Now, who knows how time works there? But even the angel of death got impatient. But he wasn't hearing the end of the story. And so he called in some of the other angels to see if they could convince somebody to tell his story. They said, look, we understand you don't want to tell it to the angel of death. We understand. We know you didn't tell the story. That's why you did this. Come, tell it to us. And for the first time, the Maggid spoke. And he said, angels don't need stories. People do. And he went back to being silent. They waited and they waited and nothing was happening. And finally, the angel of death said, look, I really want to hear the end of this story. I will give you your life back. I will reincarnate you in a new person. And then you can tell the story. Would that satisfy you? And now the Maggid spoke again. And he said, there's a problem. Because in Jewish tradition, we have this little bump at the front of our lips, just above our center lips, a little indentation. And the story is that before someone is born, they know all there is to know, because that's the world they're living in. But as they're coming down to earth, the angel Lila taps them right there, makes that little date. And in that moment, they forget everything. And they have to start all over again. And the Maggid says, if you reincarnate me, she's going to tap my lip and I'll forget the story. So that won't work. So they brought the angel Lila in. And they made an agreement with her that she wouldn't tap his lip until after he finished his story. And the next thing you know, there was a woman who was having a baby. And the baby was crying as it came out. But as soon as it arrived, it opens its eyes and it said, I am the Maggid and I have a story to tell. And the mother was so frightened, she almost dropped her baby, And she thought maybe she was hearing things. And the baby said, no, I'm a Maggid and I have a very important story to tell. Get everybody together. She called in her husband and he witnessed it. And they said, okay. And they called to the community and they said, I've got this amazing thing. This baby who's not even a day old is speaking. And everybody came together and to hear the story. And the angels came back and listened, even the angel of death. And the Maggid told her little story which went on for hours and hours and days until she finally finished the story. And then the angel Lila came down, tapped her on the lip, and she started to cry. And that's the story called The Reincarnated Maggid.
Man.
So I'm wondering what beliefs there are about this little thing. I forget there's a biological name for it, but that indentation. Are there any stories or beliefs about that in your background? No.
No.
Okay. You know,
It could be, but I didn't know actually, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will definitely research because I like this one.
Yeah, it's a sweet
Yes.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have the same thing that maybe some of the philosophers, I don't know, maybe Socrates or something like that, talked about this knowledge. They seem to say like we all know what is going on, and the knowledge that we are seeking, it's not outdoors, not in the outside, but it is within us.
Yes.
So when you discover something, it doesn't mean you discover it for the first time. Just like it is like you have it, and now it's a confirmation. Yes, this is what's happening. So this is what we call the knowledge.
Right. You remember.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Because in also in Islam we have like when she was born, like there is a written everything from his life, everything.
So we just had the arrival of our surprise guests. A surprise to you, not a surprise to us. I'm going to introduce one of them and ask them just to say who they are and why they're here. So Nawal, if you'll start us off.
So my name is Nawal, and I'm studying English at university, and I love stories, reading stories, and listening to stories. So that's why I'm here, to listen to other stories and to try to tell stories.
Okay. And your friends.
Yeah. So my friends, Haniya, she also study English at university, and this is her first time in the storytelling cafe. And she also likes to hear stories. Maybe you want to tell a story?
No, I don't have stories. Unfortunately, I would have made one actually, but we were we were running out of time actually. I would like to do it next time.
We can do another. Oh, and are you're from Marrakech, I presume, or are you from other places?
No, we're actually from other places, but staying here for studies.
Okay.
We are in different places, but we live now in one house because we are studying at university, so we live together. Yeah, so different culture.
Yes. Wonderful. Great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Exchange.
And
Naya is my roommate actually. She lives with me. She studies what do we call it? Law. She's a law student.
okay.
Yes, she's my friend, and she wanted to try storytelling. She wanted to know how things go here. Yes, so we were happy when Nawal told us that you can join us whenever you want. So yes, we took advantage of this and we came.
Good.
My friend.
Yusra.
Yeah, so my name is Yusra, and I just finished my study last year. I just graduated last year, and now I'm looking to tourism. Yeah, I'm the office coordinator.
And where are you from?
I'm from Brulé. It's a village called Marrakech. It's 1.5 hour driving.
Mhm.
And I'm living now in Marrakech. I'm renting with another girl. And yeah, I came here because I love listening to stories. And I've been working also here. So I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Shema. I'm from Guinness. I'm also a master student.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
I know about you.
Do you need to know about me, or you know about it? You'd like to know about it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So, my name is Jim Brulé, and I'm from New York State, not New York City. I live up 4 hours from the city in the woods. So it's not what most people think of when they hear New York. I've been a professional storyteller for, I guess, about 15, 20 years, something like that. I have a school where I teach my style of storytelling. One of my favorite answers to the question I get asked all the time, which is, how did you become a storyteller? There's a famous painter, Pablo Picasso, who was once asked, how long did it take you to paint that painting?
Yes.
And his answer was, all my life. And it's that way with me in stories. There's all my life. Now, there are moments I could share, and when we have more time, I can tell the story of stories. But it's something I do. I'm mostly interested in stories that have to do with either inspiring people to grow spiritually or to heal spiritually. And I work with people from around the world, all different traditions. I'm Jewish myself, but I think we've already had a lot of discussion about Islam. And, you know, this is the world I'd love to live in. The more differences, the better. So.
And this is the power of storytelling. Makes people connected.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Yes, what
Different
religion?
languages or religions or backgrounds or nationalities, but we're part of a human being, so we are storytellers and people. We can make the world a better place to live.
Absolutely. One more thing, and then I'll turn it over to Omar. So I have a dear friend, she's my sister, and as we say, my story sister, who is the head of the Native American group, folks. And I was telling her one of my stories from a Jewish tradition from Eastern Europe. And she stopped me about halfway through and she said, no, that's my story. We have the same story.
Wow.
From the northeast of North America. So that's another thing, is that stories
Travel.
Well, not only do they travel, and they absolutely do travel, but they also kind of emerge from us when the people need the story. And our needs are similar enough that the stories become similar. So sometimes we can trace the story. I'm doing something right now where I'm tracing a story that started in India and went to Afghanistan. From there, it went to China, and it ended up in Japan. 2,000 years with that route, but you can follow it. So you say, okay, this story traveled, and we can trace its path. And then sometimes they just pop up and emerge. So, but Omar, please.
It's time for a story.
And time for a story.
And we are in Marrakech.
So,
And you would really be interested in storytelling in Marrakech. So I'm going to say story, and please help me with the story. So say story.
stories.
Story.
Story.
It's time for a story. Make some noise. All right, I'm going to share with you one of the Marrakech storytelling and one of the famous craftsmen in Marrakech in summer especially, but now you would just to some with the tourism and some pictures. Here's the Grab. Grab is the craftsman who sail water in Jannah Square. So once upon a time, when the world was still young, there lived a man, and he used to give him a name, Mohammed. Mohammed used to be the water sailor in Jannah Square. He used to be there all day long, from sunrise to sunset. And this is his job, day in, day out, and years and years. He became a little bit older. So he did not have all the power he needs, all the straight links to all the alleyways of Marrakech. So he did not get a lot of money. So he started to think, what am I going to do as a strategy to make people interested in me instead of going to them to probably come to me? he was doing this and he was thinking about this. And one day he went to his wife and he said, "Dear wife, I need your help. You know, I have a place, I have food to put on the table, I have kids, I have a lot of responsibilities, but my job, my craft won't feed me, won't feed you, won't give us all the things that we need to do, and all these kind of responsibilities." And then his wife said to him, "I have a plan. Go to the souk and buy a bill and come back to me." He went slowly, like not running. He went slowly to the souk and he went and he bought a bill and he came back to her and said, "Here's the bill." So as you can imagine, there's the bill with the grab. He bought that bill and came back to her, to his wife. I said to her wife, "Okay, Yalla Fatima," her name. "I have the bill, so what? Tell me what I'm going to do with this bill." And she said to him, "Now I need you to go back to the souk and bought some raisins." Bill and raisins, and I'm seeing water, and okay. He did the same thing. He went to the souk very slowly. He bought some raisins and came back to his wife and said, "Here is the bill. Here is the raisins. Give me the solution because I need money." She said to him, "Now there is a phrase that I'm going to teach you. Okay, but before that, bring those raisins in a warm water and put him in the rooftop of their house, because back in the time they don't have fridges, they don't have like we have today. All we have is the open sky. They open this beautiful raisins in the warm water and he put it in a pot in the top of the rooftop of his house for the whole night. And in the morning he wakes up very early and he went and she said to him, "Mohammed, come here." Okay. Have a taste. They drank it like this. Bismillah, bismillah. It was very sweet in that hot summer Marrakech day. And he was happy and excited. Yes, this water would make me a lot of money. All the people in the souk, all the people in General Square, all the people in the old Medina would love this water. And guess what? I am bringing a lot of golden, like raisins, golden, and they will bring it to you. And we have a big pot, and we can put all these raisins in the pot, and we can have sweet water. You know, he had a very massive, huge hat above his head, and he has like red clothes, and he had a bag, like a small sack where he put the water in. He put that sweet water in, and he was walking in the alleyways of Marrakech alone, but no one noticed him. He was doing that for 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days. The 4th day he got disappointed because no one interested in him. He go back to his wife and say to his wife, "Dear Fatima, you know, I do have a beautiful water to sell, but nobody noticed me." And she said to him, "Yes, this is the lesson. Now it's time to teach you some words." And you would say in Arabic, you can say, ring your bell like this, and say these words. "صربان من الزبيب اللي يقصد باب الله ما يخيب يولع فرجي حركة الحياة." In English I would say, "Sweet drink of raisins. Whoever knocks the door of God will never be deceived, and whoever digs a hole shall fall right into it." He laughed it and said, "Yes, I've never heard a phrase like this. Is very spiritual. This is the moral of this phrase." He went to the alleyways of Marrakech. He was not having a good voice to sing. It was just a sweet drink of raisins. Whoever knocks the door of God will never be deceived, and whoever digs a hole shall fall right into it. Sweet drink of raisins. And one of the merchants next to him heard about the phrase and would love it, and he would say, "What sweet drink of raisins? What to taste this beautiful water?" And he called for him, "Mohammed, come here." And he went to him and he said, "Okay, I do have a water, but it costs this price. Okay, give me the taste of it." And he would put a cup of water for him, and the merchant drank that water with the raisins. He was very happy and excited. And he said to him, this is a beautiful water. Serve my clients, serve this, serve that. And guess what? Come back tomorrow and I would bring me some big pot and they would bring it to my family. This is what the start of his success. And he was very famous in the city of Marrakech and everybody would talk about him. And when other people talked about him, in time, like, he gets famous in some places. And the palace heard about him and summoned him and said, okay, we need him here. They bring him to the king and he would say, Your Majesty, I said to him, Muhammad, I need an explanation. How can you become a very famous, more than I am famous, I am the king, in a very short time and by seeing water? He said, well, I don't know. If it is my water that is so sweet and refreshing, or maybe it is my words that are filled with wisdom. And I said to him, so give me a taste of both then, Muhammad. And he said, okay, every time I walk into always of Marrakech, I would just say some words. I would say sweet drink of raisins. Whoever knocks the door of God will never be deceived, and whoever digs a hole shall fall right into it. And I put a cup of water for him in the sultan, and his throne, very relaxed, very happy, and he took the cup and he drank it. And he drank the cup. And he said to him, please give me another cup. He gave him the other cup. He gave him the third one. And the king was very satisfied by this water. And he said to him, Muhammad, I have an offer for you. Would you like to work in my palace to serve in the diwan? Because in the diwan they have the palace, like the place where he gathered the vizier, the sultan, everybody, like the big, like important meeting, and they gathered right there. He would work there for a long time. He would come from his house, preparing the water, and they would sit in the diwan, and they would serve everybody sitting in the diwan, and they would do his job, and would come back to his house early, and he would get a lot of money. They would do the same thing for a week, for a couple of weeks, but one day, there's a man from the palace, the prime minister, the vizier, got jealous of his man, Muhammad. He is like a normal man, came and he still water and he gained a lot of respect from the sultan. He was very known and he gained a lot of money, and they said to himself, I need to get rid of this man as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the king someday, this is life, maybe he can be the prime minister, or if the king died, maybe he could be the king. I won't let this happen, so I need to do something so that this man, I can get rid of him. He started thinking, and he digs a hole for the Muhammad. One day, he went to the king and he said to him, I have some bad news. And I said to him, what's the news? I said, I will talk to you later because you are very busy. And he just he left him with this suspense, and you go. At the same time, he went to Muhammad and he said to him, do you want to save your skin? Do you want to save your job here in the palace? And I said to him, he's a very naive man, I don't care about the politics, I don't know about this. I said to him, yes, I do. What did I do wrong? And I said to him, the king, the sultan, very, very upset, because every time he bends down to serve him, he would smell something bad coming out from your mouth. So the coming day, wear a veil around your face and come. If you have the chance to see like you are sick, don't come. Then Muhammad, he went to his wife and he borrowed the veil from her, and he would just put it in his face, and he would just say like this, and he would serve them very quickly, and he would run to his house. The palace, the sultan would recognize something is not normal. And he said to him, my vizier, 3 days ago, Muhammad came and he served us very quickly, and he was very, like, there is something, I don't understand what's happening in his life. And I've seen him with a veil around his face, and it was like very like sensitive, and he didn't even like try to get close to me. And what's happened with him? And I said to him, did you remember last time I told you that I need to talk about something? Yes, tell me. And said the vizier, I'm even ashamed to tell you what he told me about you. Tell me what he told you about me. And he said to him, he tried to dig a hole deeper and deeper, and he said to him, Muhammad told me once that your majesty, when he bends down to serve you, you would smell something bad coming out from your breath. That's why he would have veil on his face, and he would just go away from you. Me, the Sultan, and after all I've done for him, this is how he thanked me, and this is how his point of view about me. You know, back in the time, the Sultans, and they were very strict. So he said to them, next time, tomorrow, off of his head. Early in the morning, before even Muhammad came, the Sultan came to the guardians in the gate, and they would bring a very relative thing, like a very expensive vase, and he would say to the guardians, this is the vase, this is a sign. Anyone you see with this vase in his hand, even if it's I, off of his head. These are the rules. And he said, okay. And this is the rules. He went back to his palace, he went back to his diwan, he was sitting in his throne, and he was doing his job. And the poor Muhammad came, the Naib Muhammad came, and the king called him and said, I need to talk to you for a minute. Muhammad, it's not fair that you came from your home to here every single morning and you serve us. You are, yes, we speak to you, we love you, we need you, but I need to express my appreciation of the thing that you've done for us. So here is this vase, I'm giving it to you, and go back and put it in your house and come back, or maybe come back tomorrow or after the day after. But why did you give me this vase? I don't know this value of this vase. I'm just normal man, and I'm not like very educated and intellectual to know the relative thing about this vase. I don't know what am I going to do with it. And I say, no, you can have it, and you can this is yours. The story, he put his hands under his shoulders like this, and he would walk outside of the diwan. What happened? Any suggestions? No. There was the vizier waiting for him because he's chasing him all the time. And once he saw him with a big, beautiful, expensive, relative thing, this vase, he would say, Muhammad, where did you steal that golden vase? Tell me. No, I didn't steal it. It's the king who gave it to me as a gift to me. And guess what? I don't know even what does it mean. And he said to him, if you want to save your skin, give it to me. And I give you all the money you want. Give me a number, and here it is. He said to him, no, I don't need money. I just need peace and relax, and because my family needs me. And I said to him, okay. And he bought some coins, golden coins, and gave it to him. He would take those golden coins, the poor Muhammad, and he would walk to his house, and the guardians was there in the gate, but no one touched him. The vizier, he tried to get rid of this victim-like thing that he has, because if the king see him with this really thing, he would see something happening. He would run to go outside of the palace, and the guardians was there with big swords, so to see him, and then you can imagine what's happening. So off of his head, and it was a mess. All the people in the palace would scream, "What? This is the vizier! Why did you kill the vizier?" And he was running, screaming, and the king was in his palace. He was in his city. He was very happy with the screaming. He said, mission accomplished. But guess what happened? He would hear the vizier name, and he was, what? My vizier? Out of his head? And he would run, and he would go, and he would witness the thing, and he would say, the body in the side, and the head in the other side, and the missing of blood, and you can imagine the scene. Then to say to the guardians, bring me Grab right away. They bring him Grab, poor Grab, and they would say, why did you give that golden vase to my vizier? He did it in a purpose, right? No, I did not. And I said to him, but why did you give him that golden vase? It's him. He forces me to give it to him as a gift, but I'm only man, like just normal man. I don't know what is, I don't know even the value of this golden vase. And he gave me some golden coins, and I just go home and I bought some food and water to my family. That's it. And then the king start to understand what's going on. And I said to him, but why last time you bring, like, you been to serve us and you have a beer on your face for 3 days? It's him again. It's the one who tell me that every time I been down to serve you, you would smell something bad coming out from my breast, so that I want to see my skin. I don't want to be like very upset of me, so I want to respect you. I said, okay. He understand. I said to him, Grab, I need to tell me your phrase again. I need to hear it once more. I said to him, sweet drink of raisins, however, knocks the door of God, will never be deceived, and whoever digs a hole shall fall right into it. And the king smiled, a very big smile, and said, yes. Your water is so sweet and refreshing, and you knock the door of God, and God leads you to me, and they give you a lot of money and beautiful job, and we give you gifts every time, and the vizier just digs a hole for you. And look at him now. So he gave him a hug like this, and he gave him, and from then on, he gave him enough money to be one of the richest merchants in Marrakech, and he went to his wife, Lalla Fatima, and he would live there forever till the end of time. And this is the end of the story of Mohammed and his wife, Lalla Fatima, from Marrakech.
Wonderful.
It was fun here.
Yeah. Would you like to tell a story, or shall I tell one first?
Okay, you can talk.
Okay. Because one of the things we've discovered is that one story inspires another.
Yes.
So I'll tell you the story that was inspired for me by this story. And then you can tell yours.
Yeah. Mine is short, so
Okay. That's fine. So this is a story from Afghanistan. And there once was a king. He was a pretty good king. And he wanted to be sure that his subjects were happy. And so he would disguise himself and wander among them and see how their lives were. Now, at first, he would just wander very close to his castle, where everybody lived well. And he would come back and say, yes, I have a good kingdom. And then each time he would go further out to where things were more difficult. Until finally one day he went off to the woods, and he found this man sitting at a stump of a tree stump, hammering shoe leather, repairing shoes. And there was a little tiny house that he had with a single candle burning in it. Very, very poor man. And the king said to him, how is your wife? And the man said, thank God. God is good. I have a good life. And the king said, doesn't look like you have a good life. And the man said, no, it's a good life. Would you like to have dinner with us? And the king said, dinner? He said, yes. And he invited him into this small little house. And his wife was just serving some very thin soup with a crust of bread. And the man said, enjoy this. This is our meal. And the king said, how can you say this is good? And the man said, I've got a job. I repair shoes. You know, I make just enough money, and my wife and I were happy. God is good. The king went back to his castle and he said, I think he's lying to me. I don't think he really thinks it's good. And of course, he didn't know he was the king, but still. So he said, I'm going to make a law. I'm going to ban shoe repair. No one can repair shoes anymore. I'll take away his living and we'll see if he's still there. So he did that, he waited a week and he came back. And there's the same man sitting at the stove, chopping wood. And he said, oh, hello again, my brother, how are you? The king said, I'm good, how are you? He says, God is good. What do you mean? He says, God is good, it's a good life. Well, but what are you doing now? He says, oh, the king, he said I couldn't repair shoes anymore, and I found out I can chop wood and I can sell the wood. So it's a lot easier. I don't have to go through the trash to find old shoe leather. This is good. God is good. He wasn't happy. So he banned wood chopping. And he came back a week later, and there's the fellow, and he's got water buckets. You know, he's carrying water. And he said, how are you? He says, God is good. Life is good. How can you say that? Well, you know, I had to go into the forest to find trees and chop them down. It was so much work. And now I just take these buckets of water from the river and take them into town. Life is good. The king was so frustrated. So he had a brand new plan. And the next morning, he drafted the man into his, I've just forgotten the word. He drafted this man to be a soldier and to guard the gates, inside the gates. And he also said to the man, I won't pay you for the first month. You have to stay here. And in a month, you'll get paid. And so a week later, he goes back to the man's house, and he notices there's curtains in the windows. And he smells some good food coming out of the house. And he says to the man, how are you? He says, oh, God is good. He says, how could that be? He said, well, the king, drafted me as a soldier. He made me come to his palace, and he gave me this amazing uniform and a hat, and he gave me a sword that was just beautiful, made of wonderful metal. He said I couldn't get paid for a month, so, I'm not really fighting. I'm just standing there guarding. So I cut off the metal, and I sold the metal, and I replaced it with wood. And so now I just stand there in line, and we've got all the money we ever needed. God is good. The king said, I've got you now. And the next morning, in the courtyard, the king has a prisoner brought in. And he said to all the guards standing around, this man is convicted of terrible crimes. And the penalty for that is for him to be executed. And he turned to the man and he said, and you're going to be the one to chop off his head. And the man said, oh, I can't do that. And the king said, no, you must. And the man said, no, my God doesn't allow me to kill other people. I can't. And the king said, I don't care. There will be a head rolling on the floor. It'll either be the criminals or it'll be yours. Kill this man. Cut off his head. And so he walked out there with his hand on the handle of his sword. He thought for a moment, And he looked up into the sky and he said, "Oh God, you know I would never do anything that was against your will. And I've been told this man is evil and must be executed. But only you know, God, if he's evil or not. So give me a sign. If he's a good man, turn my sword into wood." And with that, the king laughed and he said, "I've never met a man as wonderful and as smart as you. I want you to become one of my advisors." And what did he say? God is good.
God is good.
God is good.
So I think it's my turn.
Yes.
I have a short story. I'm not professional at telling stories, but I will do my best. So, one time, I'm from a small village in Atlas Mountains, and one time I had to come to Marrakech for my exam, and I woke up at 4 a.m. to get a taxi. I was waiting inside of the road, and I was so nervous and waiting a long time for a taxi. Then it was dark and it was so cold. Then finally the taxi arrived. When the taxi arrived, I opened the door and I noticed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a chicken. And I said, "Sorry, sir, why is the chicken here?" Then the driver said, he was so calm, and he said, "Oh, the chicken also is going to Marrakech to have a business meeting in the market." Everyone in the taxi started laughing. And I just sit in my place and I look at the chicken, and he was serious and professional, like he's really going to a meeting. So it was a long trip. We arrived to Marrakech and the driver opens the door. Then the chicken go out first. He looks confident, head up like a boss. He didn't pay, he didn't even say thank you, he just left. So I ran to university and my teacher was standing and she was angry and she asked me, "Why are you late?" And I told her, "Well, I need to tell the truth." So I told her, "Oh, my taxi was waiting for a chicken." And all my classmates started laughing. And obviously she didn't believe me, but now all my classmates call me the chicken girl.
Oh,
We did not expect this.
Really? A bit funny, right?
Yes.
I thought the chicken's business meeting was going to become, a meal.
Yeah.
So what do you like about storytelling?
I like the different stories, like the wisdom in it, like the meaning of things and how like different story can give you different ideas and perspectives.
One of the things we learn as storytellers is that whenever you tell a story, if you tell it well, 3 things change. The audience changes because you told them a story and they start to look at the world in a different way. You start to change because you're telling the story. You get to see the world in a different way, and the story changes. So even if the basic plot stays the same, the story is never the same. And it's always changing. And the idea is that the story you tell, each person in the room might hear a different meaning from it.
Yes.
And the best stories, I think, my opinion, are the stories that don't tell you what the one meaning is. But they let you hear the meanings that you need to hear. And that's when you kind of trust to say, we're channels for the story. We're just the way the story gets told. We're not the ones who know the answers. That's why I love to tell stories. How about you? Why do you love to tell stories?
Like, I don't know if you heard about this, but there is something called storytelling therapy. But I believe in art therapy, but storytelling therapy, when I use it, I fell in love with storytelling, the impression. So there's something like in two perspectives, something organic and something technical. We've talked about this, and we can talk about more with Mrs. Messi and Maria about this later. So the storytelling can change someone's life from to be better, like to find his own voice. This is what happened to me with storytelling. I have no voice, this is the truth. Like 4 years ago or something like that. So if I speak to people, no one could listen because I didn't speak to people. I was stuttering. I was completely in a dark side of the world. So a lot of things happened back in the time. So when the storytelling came to my life, it changed my perspective of seeing things. And I see, yes, it could be happened. Yes, why not? And my inspiration is from Mr. Taffy Thomas when, you know, the story that in at the age of 36, he has a massive stroke, so his body stopped working and his tongue stopped talking, so he cannot see a word. So he cannot move correctly or use his left hand or his left leg, and he cannot speak a word to the world. So he went and the doctors say to him, there is something called speech therapy, and you can use stories to learn to speak again and to reach your vocabulary and everything. So he did it. It's not just for the therapy, but he became a great storyteller of all time. This is when I hear his story of it, because I met him and we talked about this for 10 days. We have a lot of chat about the power of storytelling. So I said to myself, he stopped talking and can speak again because of storytelling. Thankfully, the storytelling just stuttering. So if I hit the comparison, like he's here, and I said, okay, I can do it. Why not? And then I immerse myself in this art of storytelling, and then there is something. I don't know if this is good for the podcast or. This is what we call like personal storytelling. This is like a kind. We have it in our website in the wordstorytellingcafe.com. So is when you tell your own story, it could be fun, it could be dramatic, but your own story. It's you, instead of using he, she, they, you see I. For example, in our story, that's why I converted it. This is a very specific like file of storytelling, and we don't have this kind of storytelling too much. It's not often used in other places. Yes, they have this. So I use storytelling in some places, like academically speaking, and some places because you cannot tell stories everywhere. You need to choose your audience first, and you need to be comfortable and the right people. That's why I use it, and I spoke about too many things in my experience with some mental illness, and it changed completely my life for better. So that's it gives you this power and to speak against to people. So sometimes in the real life we don't speak often about a lot of things. So for example, if you sit and say I can speak about something now, we did not have this bravery enough to speak clear to through things like this. But with storytelling, we can use metaphors, we can use proverbs, riddles, like a lot of things, like to talk about certain things, and people would just accept it. And this is a story. So this is part of imagination. It could be real, but we all have this. This is open to every perspective and every significance. This is it, and I use this story and still learning that I'm at the beginning of my storytelling journey. So I need what to know about international storytelling, and I think we had a we are really lucky to be like in Morocco and Marrakech specifically because we have at least 10 centuries of storytelling traditions, so that's a lot. So if you have 10 centuries, that's how many stories? We can just
Yes.
and we are very lucky because people seems to know that we do have just two kind of storytelling, Arabic and Amazigh. But if you go to Arabic, you will get lost in the diversity we do have.
Sure.
If you go to Amazigh, that's other bullshit.
Yes.
If you go deeper, you will find strange things, and that's absolutely beautiful thing. So she's from Atlas Mountains. She's from Afghan, and Ibn Milad is completely different dialects.
Sure.
So if you hear the dialect of Afghan, of Ibn Milad, my aunt lived in Ibn Milad, and her language, it's completely different. So you can see this richness and this diversity in storytelling. But at the same time, we have our one. So
Yes.
it's all the same path, and we are concentrating on this Moroccan heritage of tradition of storytelling.
Well, I want to have you say one last thing to close about just the cafe and the festival, just to let people know what we do. But I'll tell you a very, very short true story for me. I was working, there are three of us where I live. We call ourselves the Brothers Three. And I'm Jewish, and there's another fellow who's a Christian minister, and there's another fellow who's Muslim, a Muslim scholar. And we just go and we talk to groups, and they see us talking to each other, and they say, oh, maybe this is possible. And we had gone to a church, and we had done our stories. And this was not long after 9/11, so it was a difficult time. And one man was in the audience, and he was very angry. And he got the Muslim's name is Mohammed. And he said, you're just lying to us. Of course it wasn't, but that was his mind. And Mohammed did a good job of kind of calming him down, but he just walked out. He didn't want to do it. We came back the next year, and he stood in the room at the back of the room with his arms crossed, but he didn't say anything. He didn't, get mad. He just stood there. He came back a third year, and this time he was sitting closer in, and he said, wouldn't it be better? He spoke to me. He said, wouldn't it be better if we were just one big melting pot? Now, that's a word we use in the United States a lot. It means everybody just kind of becomes part of the same soup, and no differences between us. We're all now Americans. And he said, wouldn't that be a better solution? And I said, no, I don't think so, because if you take all sorts of different candies and you melt them all together, there's no flavor left. It's just, And I was speaking about gumballs, which have a hard shell and a soft inside. And he said, I think you're right. What we need to have is softer shells. And I think he got it. He understood. But it took him 3 years, and it took him hearing stories from the three of us over and over again. So you might say it's not worth it. But I know when he finished, he had changed. And he was now going to be someone in his community who could speak to this, I think, very truth. We want to keep our differences because that's what makes life interesting. But we need softer shells so we don't bang into each other. So give us a little promotion for the festival and the World Storytelling Cafe, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yes. So the World Storytelling Cafe, where we are in now today, is it started after the COVID-19. It it was online, so it is no original place. So they started online and they start to gather storytellers all around the globe, and they have sharing stories all together. And then it came right in and said, we need to do something in real life. So we need a place where the storytellers can visit in real life. They built this place and they just opened it, and there was no maybe 4 years now. It's such a huge work as a place. All the people, the storytellers came and visit and have stories. And the World Storytelling Cafe is the co-founder of Marrakech International Storytelling Festival, one of the biggest storytelling festival in the world. It was 3 editions now so far, and the 4th one will be next January 27. So the 3rd one, as you can see, the poster over there is like the Behja, and Behja means joy and beautiful. Like Marrakech, and Marrakech you can see Behjawi, that means you are Marrakech. Joyful, yes, that's the meaning. And last edition, you may recognize the certificate from Guinness World Record, where we have the privilege, and we are very lucky to bring Guinness World Record to come and record the longest continuous storytelling show in history. It was in the big square in Jamaica Square, and you've been there with his rare and great storytellers. And we have more than 100 storytellers, and Jane Brulé was there, and I was there, and Maria Gillan, and Liz Weir, and a lot of storytellers in different, like 23 languages, have more than a lot of countries and continents. And you can imagine like 80 hours non-stop of storytelling, 32 minutes and 58 seconds of telling stories. You can imagine how many stories they told in this Jamaica Square. That's a lot of stories. And there are some strict rules. And the Guinness World Record was there, but we did not know who. Is she a woman? Is she a man? We don't know. Is 1 or 2 or 3? Is there something like up on the down? We don't know. And the rules are, you need 1 minute of pause every time we change the storyteller. For example, we have an hour. If I came next, you have 1 minute to be out of the
It was a stage.
stage, and I need this 1 minute to prepare myself and be in the stage and telling the story. There is no my name here I came from. No, you can't just come and say my name. No, that's not impossible. It's not allowed. It's not allowed to sing a song. It's not allowed to be quiet and not telling stories. You need to tell the stories and directly like this. And another thing is that the respect the Islam tradition we have here in Morocco, because in our country, Islam is the religion, and they say we can make an exception for you, and they take it off in the records in the end, because we have more than 80 hours, but they accept 80 hours. They say we have 5 call for prayers every single day, so you can speak normal and tell stories, but at this time you can stop, respect of the call for prayer, because there was like too big, like the big kutubia, you can hear so we could respect this, and we can just relax and stop. And if the call for prayer finished, the 1 minute started. So you need at least 10 seconds, and you can just start telling stories. And there are another one who is very strict rule. You need an audience. You cannot tell a story like days and nights. 4 p.m. in the nights, a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m. You need to have at least between, like at least you have the maximum, like you can have the minimum you can have is 10 of audiences, but awake.
Awake, yes.
Not sleeping. If there's is 1 or 2 sleeping, the people are in charge, like from the Guinness, they would say, stop recording. We have 3, so they are not counted. We have 4 are counted, for example. So this is not enough for this audience. So that's why they offer some Haniya for free for the people to stay there. And we need like people to very like the passionate about the storytelling. We make it, and then at the end we celebrate in Jamaica Square. the Guinness World Record did not stop it, but the organizers said we are going to make it like very happy, like you see. And one of the like storytellers telling the stories, and they make it like a show. And one of them came and said he went up on the stage and he would tell the same story, and they were trying to tell a story and say, "What did you do? That means you broke the record, and we need to stop because we have two on the stage and we tell the story, and you don't have you're not allowed to do this." And then you say, "Oh, okay," and the woman from the Guinness World Record like said, "Stop recording." And we have other one, like we need to have two cameras or two phones, smartphones from both sides. So it was like if we have 4 or maybe 6 like smartphones and 2 people or more, like they're going like permanently. One, if someone like for example 8 hours and he go, and there is another one 8 hours and he go, and another one 8 hours and he go. So the whole day and night. So they have it and take care of the charge. If the phone is dying, they take it out and they have another one. So there is no time to miss. It was very strict, and we celebrate this in gala dinner, where the lady from Guinness, she is a lady, and she would say after a long discussion, after a lot, because they have a little bit of time, and she's just the one who like announced the result, but they're a big group who working on that. She said, "We are declaring that and announcing that Marrakech International Storytelling Festival break the world record of storytelling in Marrakech in the big square Janafna from 21 January to 24 January, which was my birthday." Yes, and some storytellers give me like, he said, "Happy birthday," and give me some presents, some gifts. So it was like a very wonderful thing to achieve and to be part of. And we have our like all the storytellers have this certificate from the Guinness World Record. You have your name, you have the stamp of it from the Guinness. It was original one, have some words, and it's something to keep as a beautiful achievement for. And we are very happy as we going to be part of this and hold this one. And the president of the storytelling festival, Mr. Makewood, he gave it the origin certificate of the Guinness. You can see the copy of it right here. He gave it to His Majesty the King Mohammed VI, and His Majesty appreciated it, and he write him back, and he a response, a letter from the palace with his hand signing, and this is a history. So you can see this is recognized by the palace because they have they help them in two editions. They give their support for the festival.
So the other thing I'll say, and then I'll close, about the festival is that beyond the record, which was nice and difficult, was we had over 200 workshops that we led, and they were open to the public, and we visited over 5,000 students in the schools and told them stories. So more than just the record, the festival is really reviving the tradition of storytelling here. And I can tell you, as a storyteller from the United States, I've been working with all these storytellers around the world, and I never met them. I only met them on Zoom. And to have everyone come here was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so I know the next one, inshallah, will be even better.
Even better, it will be bigger and
So I'm going to say the official goodbye for the podcast. I want to thank our guests for being here, especially Omar.
Will we say goodbye from Cork?
And goodbye from New York, but only for a while, because we'll be back again with another episode. Absolutely.
We can't wait to see you on the Story Road one more time. And from this time till that, be safe on the Story Road.